In this example, we have a person sitting in front of a neutral background in a surrounding with little or no ambient light. We may start with a soft light as a key light and try to determine the best angle to catch a reflex in both eyes and still give some feeling of three-dimensionality to the face. Different angles away from the camera axis may be chosen for a more three-dimensional impression or even dramatic. Choose a suitable height for the desired effect. For fill light, you may choose a suitable reflective surface, which is not included in the kit, or a second soft light. You can use separate light, but you can also use reflected light. And reflected light has a unique beauty of its own. Sometimes it can be much more lovely, amiable, unnoticeable, but very helpful in a very special way. So we don't need to place a fill light as a soft light or hard light. We can also use a reflector. Now we can go and try another approach. We could put this reflector underneath the camera lens. And then we can try and put a light onto the reflector so it has something to do. It has some light that it can reflect. And the nice thing about the Dedolight is this clean beam where we can shine a very precise light pretty much directly under the lens of the camera without causing a flare on the lens. And now we can even determine how large the reflector should be. We don't change the size of the reflector, but we change the size of the lit area on the reflector, because the Dedolight can spot so tight that we can light only one part of the reflector and have a smaller soft light. Or then we flood it out a little bit and we use the entire surface of the reflector, and what we can see is that in the close-up that we're creating a second reflex in the lower part of the eye. Again, explain choice, angle, position, and height for the second light or for the reflector. On both soft lights, you use a louvre or a grid to keep the light away from the background and the camera, allowing us the separate illumination of the background without any interfering spill from the key or fill light. Now, you may want to dim the intensity on the fill light to achieve the desired contrast ratio between key and fill light. Then you choose one of the focusing lights as a backlight. This backlight you may at first run at full power to define angle and position, and later on you dim it down to make it less obtrusive. You can balance the backlight between hair and shoulders if necessary, because of different reflected values or brightnesses. You can do this with a barn door or with a set of half scrims. The next focusing light you may use as a kicker on the side of the face which is opposite the key light. This has to be done with great subtlety. This can help to bring more three-dimensionality, sculpting to the face. It's not always necessary, not even always desirable. And if you don't want to use the kicker, you can use this light head as an additional light for an accent or for the background. Now, the remaining focusing light you will use for the background. With this you can create an evenly lit background or slash of light using the barn doors with different positions and orientations. Or, maybe better, use the imager, the projection attachment, to project a background pattern, like a steel gobo. You balance the intensity so that you don't distract from the foreground or object. You use color gel filters to indicate the time of the day, be it a blue filter for night effect or an amber filter for an afternoon sunlight effect. Especially when you're using a camera with a small sensor and a short focal length, it will be very helpful to throw the background projection out of focus to create the illusion of space and depth. Now you may want to use the fourth light to create another layer in the background effects, to enhance the feeling of greater distance, three-dimensionality, if you don't want to use this light as a kicker. If you choose any particular color for the background projection, you may also want to use a similar color on the backlight and the kicker to create the uniformity of the light character which is hitting or illuminating the person from the backside. Instead of the gobo projection, you can also use our background effect glasses. Again, you will see a completely different character of these projections, whether the projection is in focus or thrown out of focus. Yet a further version can be the sandwich, combining a steel gobo with such a background effect filter. Now, all that we're doing here now has nothing to do with rules or even any suggestions of what we expect you to do. It is merely one example to run you through the range of equipment and accessories that we will provide for you. How you use them is completely up to you. Subject, situation, the style of lighting, the character, all up to your creative choices.